Yo, what's going on guys? Mush back at it with another video, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at 6 big PC games coming in May 2018. Used to do this series pretty regularly on this channel, but I thought I'd get back to it and especially highlight some of the PC games you guys might not know about, and there's quite a few of them coming in May that I think a lot of you gamers would be excited for. A lot of games across different genres, some bigger than others, so without further ado, let's get right into this. I'll start off with a game that I've been talking about quite a bit, and that's Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire. This is the follow-up to Obsidian's Pillars of Eternity, and Pillars of Eternity 2 is once again developed by Obsidian, and it was help funded through various crowdfunding platforms, and actually through all of that crowdfunding, one of the new features that has been implemented in Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire is the fact that the game is entirely voice acted. That is huge to me because it's 2018, I don't want to be doing too much reading, and Pillars of Eternity was a lot of reading. I think the fact that the game will be entirely voice acted is going to make it a lot more accessible, especially to those of you that are a little bit more casual in terms of RPG investment, because this is a game that is going to take a lot of hours of investment. I mean, there was a lot of content to Pillars of Eternity, especially if you also tackled the expansions, and with Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire, you do have a little bit different of a thematic, but it will be a much larger game than the first title, and one of the primary focuses with Pillars of Eternity 2 is to eliminate all of the filler content and make it more killer. I've always said that's the best way to do a RPG. The least amount of filler as possible, the most amount of killer content as possible, and hopefully we see that come to fruition with Pillars of Eternity 2. If you've yet to play the first game, I would highly recommend you to do so. If you find a decent sale, you can pick up the complete edition for less than $20, and that's a great deal. Again, a lot of content in that, and then you'll probably be as excited for this game as I am. Pillars of Eternity 2 will be launching on May 8th. Moving on from that, I do want to give a mention to Dark Souls Remastered. Now, yes, we've had Dark Souls on PC, but if you guys don't know, when Dark Souls was released back in 2012, it was one of the lesser PC ports in terms of quality in the history of PC ports. It wasn't all too good, so hopefully with Dark Souls Remastered, it's a far better PC port, though Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3 ran very well for me, so hopefully Remastered will follow in suit, and giving me a reason to jump back into Dark Souls 1 will always be nice. Again, I know a lot of you have played the hell out of the first Dark Souls, and maybe a remastered edition isn't enough to win you back over and try the game again, but for those of you that have never played Dark Souls and you want to start off with the very first game, the Dark Souls Remastered, as long as it's a good port, is going to be one to check out. Dark Souls Remastered will be releasing on May 25th, and by the way, it will be launching at $40, so I don't know what to think of that price. I don't know if you own the original game, if you see a little bit of a discount. That's typically what games do, but it varies publisher to publisher. Hopefully that is the case, but nonetheless, again, releasing on May 25th. Another pretty big RPG that was announced out of nowhere and is coming next month is Disgaea 5 Alliance of Vengeance. Yes, it's a JRPG, so maybe not for everyone, but Japanese RPGs have been coming in waves on PC. You've seen games like Final Fantasy 15. All of the Final Fantasy games have actually released on PC. You've got games like Ys, Dragon Quest 11 is going to be seeing a release on PC, and the Disgaea franchise has actually made quite of an impact on PC as well, and now we've got the latest game in Disgaea 5 Alliance of Vengeance coming to PC as well. Disgaea 5 did release on the PlayStation 4 back in 2015. I played it on the PS4 and had a rather good time with it. This is a game that, while looking at it, the visual style is going to turn a lot of gamers off. Even if you're into JRPGs, just the stylization and the presentation of the game is not going to be for everyone. It doesn't reach a new technical benchmark. However, if you're familiar with the Disgaea games, you know that's not what these games go for. This is another franchise where every game is just packed to the brim with content. There is so much to do, and you can easily spend well over 100 hours doing everything, and it does have some lengthy battles, so if you're a fan of strategy RPGs, if you can get past the visual style, this is one that's going to be a lot of fun, and there's a lot of great humor in the Disgaea games as well. So that'll be releasing on PC on May 7th. This is one that has gotten no hype whatsoever, was kind of announced out of nowhere, but all things considered, it's a pretty major release on PC. Next up, I did want to give a mention to State of Decay 2. Yes, an Xbox One and Windows 10 title. Again, as is the case with all of these cross-play titles, it is going to be available on the Windows 10 store. However, rumors have been circulating about the game also releasing on Steam at some point, so it might be a wise idea to hold off until that. Otherwise, as always with these Xbox One and Windows 10 titles, you can just have Xbox Game Pass, and you'll be able to play State of Decay 2. It's a $10 a month service. It's pretty worth it. If you're on the Xbox One, it's super worth it because you get over 100 games. On PC, you only get a few games to pick from, but that library is quickly growing with games like Sea of Thieves on there. I believe Gears of War 4 is on there. State of Decay 2 will be added, and then Crackdown 3 will be added later this year as well. State of Decay 2 is the follow-up to the first State of Decay title, title, and it's going to feature a far bigger world. It's set in an open world environment, and it does have an emphasis on cooperative gameplay. It's up to 4 players cooperatively, and it looks to be a far more expansive experience over the first game, and the first game was pretty good. Now, State of Decay 2, if you want to buy the full game, it is going to be released as a budget title. It's only $29.99, so keep that in mind. And as far as the system requirements go, I did want to cover it because this is one of the harder to run games on this list, but it's nothing crazy. To go over them real quickly, minimum you're looking at a Core i5 2500 or an FX 6300 for the CPU, 8 gigs of RAM, and a GTX 760 or a 7870, very old GPUs in that regard, and 16 gigabytes of hard drive space. Recommended wise, you're looking at an Intel Core i5 4570 3.2 gigahertz or an FX 8350 4 gigahertz, 16 gigabytes of RAM, that seems to be more of a norm, and an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 960 or a Radeon R9 380. So not super high end in that regard, and State of Decay 2 will be launching on May 22nd, and again, it will be released at $30, or if you have Xbox Game Pass, it will be a part of that. Next up is a game that I think everybody needs to know about. This is quietly becoming one of my more anticipated games of this year so far. It looks great, and the game is Moonlighter. Moonlighter is an action RPG with roguelite elements that demonstrates 2 sides of the coin, revealing everyday routines of the main character Will, an adventurous shopkeeper who also secretly dreams of becoming a hero. Now, right away when you look at Moonlighter, I am absolutely captivated by this pixel art style. It looks awesome, a very unique style of presentation, and if you're into more old school games, and you have seen games in the past implement this kind of art style, reminds me a little bit of a game called Hyper Light Drifter in terms of its presentation, and I absolutely love that game, so you can imagine why I love the presentation of Moonlighter. This game looks like one that has a lot of potential. It is being done by a new studio in Digital Sun. We don't know too much about them, but the game looks to be a really solid indie release. Maybe not one everyone will pick up right away at release, but one to definitely at the very least add to your wishlist on Steam and then pick it up down the line if it is discounted. I could see this one being received very well. It is being released on May 29th. And finally, a game that I'm not all too interested in, but as a PC gamer, I thought I would have to mention it anyway, and that is Total War Saga Thrones of Britannia, the latest game in the long-running franchise from Creative Assembly as well as Sega. Total War Saga Thrones of Britannia, why I'm a bit more captivated by this release than other Total War releases because of the Viking theme that the game has going on for it. Now, I am a little bit skeptical because this game reminds me a lot of Total War Attila, and that game performance-wise wasn't all too good on PC. As far as the system requirements go, they don't seem like anything too crazy, especially because Total War is a franchise that is known for bringing PCs to its knees. I mean, you go back and look at Shogun 2, that was an incredibly difficult game to run at its time, and it's still pretty difficult. As far as this game goes, on the minimum side of things, you're looking at an Intel Core 2 Duo 3.0 GHz, 5 gigabytes of RAM on the minimum side. That's a very weird RAM requirement, but nonetheless, there you have it. Minimum GPU requirement is a GTX 461 GB, a Radeon HD 5771 GB, or even Intel HD 4000. Now, they do specify that's for 720p, and you're gonna need 30 gigabytes of hard drive space. On the recommended side of things, you're looking at an Intel Core i5 4570 at 3.2 gigahertz, 8 gigabytes of RAM, an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 770, so that's quite a big leap over the 460, or an AMD Radeon R9 290X 4 GB, that's for 1080p. Obviously, for a lot of you guys, you want to play at resolutions higher than that, so just think ahead on that. If you want to play at 1440p or even 4K, you are going to need a beefier rig. Total War is a franchise that I've always appreciated. It's been a franchise that's really been a staple to PC libraries, so Total War Saga Thrones of Britannia is releasing on May 3rd, 2018, and it is releasing at a more budget price of $40, and if you pre-order it, it is $36, so you have that too. That's gonna conclude this video, guys. Let me know what you think. What games are you planning on picking up in May on PC? Now, I know with PC gamers, spending full price on a PC game might not be up everyone's alley, but a game like Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire I think is gonna be completely worth that. Moonlighter is a game to definitely keep your eyes on, and of course, Disgaea 5 Alliance of Vengeance. If you're a fan of strategy JRPGs, you know what to expect out of that one. That's going to be a good game. State of Decay 2, I'm hoping for the best. The last Microsoft release in Sea of Thieves left me wanting a lot more, so hopefully that can remedy that a little bit. You got Dark Souls Remastered, and then for those of you that are into Total War, you also have Total War Saga Thrones of Britannia. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.